it's Lynn, and today I'm coming at you with a book review on Exciting Times by Naoise Dolan. This is Dolan's debut novel, and it follows Ava, a 22-year-old Irish woman who has relocated to Hong Kong to teach English to the children of the city's wealthy elite. She is sharp, acerbic, and deeply interior, the kind of narrator whose observations are so precise that you find yourself nodding even when you don't entirely like her. She is also adrift, far from home, not quite sure why she left, navigating a city that doesn't see her, while she doesn't quite see it either. The novel is structured in three parts: Julian, Edith, and Julian and Edith, mapping its central love triangle with the clean, deliberate geometry of someone who has thought very hard about form. Julian is a 28-year-old British banker, charming, occasionally generous, and constitutionally incapable of emotional honesty. He likes Ava without being willing to admit it. He benefits from her company without extending her the basic courtesy of any form of commitment. And Ava understands this perfectly intellectually and stays anyway. Their dynamic is threaded through with class and colonial tension. She is Irish, financially dependent on him in ways she finds both convenient and quietly humiliating. And she cannot push back in rooms full of his English expat friends without risking the fragile stability she has built for herself. The novel is at its sharpest here in the transactional architecture of their arrangement. When Julian leaves Hong Kong temporarily, Ava meets Edith, a Hong Kong-born lawyer who studied in the UK and returned home to meet her family's expectations and quietly suppress her own queerness. What begins as friendship becomes something far more consuming. Edith sees Ava in a way Julian never managed, and through her, Ava explores her sexuality with the tenderness that Julian chapters conspicuously lack. But their relationship exists in a kind of liminal space, vivid and real between them, but invisible to everyone else. And then Julian comes back. And what follows, I'll leave for you to discover. There is a lot to admire here, and I want to be fair about that. Dolan's prose is precise in a way that feels almost surgical, not ornate, not reaching for profundity, but economical in a way that earns its intelligence through restraint. Ava's voice is genuinely distinct, wry, self-aware, and capable of making you laugh and wince in the same sentence. That particular skill is rarer than it looks, and Dolan has it in abundance in this novel. What moved me most, though, was the queer representation, specifically how Dolan handles Ava's relationship with Edith. There is no liberation arc here, no tidy resolution. It is tentative and complicated and sometimes painful, which is far closer to how these things actually unfold in real life. Edith's inability to claim their relationship openly, given the weight of her family's expectations and cultural context, is treated with genuine sensitivity. And through Edith, we see a version of Ava that is more present, more willing to be known. It is the most emotionally generous section of the book, for sure. I also appreciated the political texture running through the Julian sections. Their relationship isn't just a bad romantic match, it's a staging ground for something far larger. Ava knows exactly what structure she has walked into, and it is that clear-eyed awareness, the fact that she can see everything and still make the choices that she makes, that gives those chapters their particular unshakable ache. And yet, for all of Dolan's craft, I found this novel genuinely difficult to inhabit for long stretches, and most of that difficulty lives in Ava. Flawed protagonists are not a problem, they are usually the interesting ones. But Ava's particular brand of passivity is not the kind that rewards you. She can dissect power and history and language with surgical precision and then apply almost none of that intelligence to her own life. She does not say what she thinks. She does not ask for what she needs. The one moment of decisive action she takes feels less like earned character growth and more like a convenient plot hinge, placed exactly where the narrative requires it. I wanted to feel for her, and there were moments that I almost did, but mostly I found myself exhausted. The political commentary, too, felt like a thread introduced with real ambition and then quietly set aside. Ava has strong, historically grounded feelings about British colonialism and its relationship to Ireland, and yet they almost never leave her internal monologue. She bites her tongue, conforms to the very social scripts she resents, and lets the moments that matter pass without a single word. I understand that silence is partly the point, but it happens so consistently that it stops feeling like nuance and starts feeling like a missed opportunity. For a novel marketed as politically alert, the politics spend a lot of time decorating the walls rather than doing any actual work, at least in my humble opinion. My final frustration is with Hong Kong as a setting, or rather with what the novel does and doesn't do with it. The city hums in the background, but the people who actually inhabit it are largely sidelined. When the mistreatment of Edith's family's Filipino domestic worker is briefly mentioned and dropped entirely, I felt the absence of that threat acutely. It was precisely the kind of specific, grounded detail that could have given the novel's politics real weight. Instead, it vanishes. And then there is the ending, which I won't spoil except to say that it left me not moved, not even pleasantly unresolved, but simply indifferent. After everything that I read, I wanted more than that. All of that said, I did finish this book, and I think that counts for something. And Dolan is a genuinely gifted writer, and the Edith arc alone is worth the read. But taken as a whole, Exciting Times gave me more frustration than satisfaction, and because of that, I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars. If you love precise prose and complicated queer love stories, it is worth picking up. Just go in with tempered expectations, a tolerance for a deeply passive protagonist, and maybe a cup of tea nearby for when you read the ending. And so that leads me to you. Have you read it or are you planning on it? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'd love to interact with you. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You are awesome. Stay awesome. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.